Welcome back. You're watching The Social Network on NDTV 24/7, and another top trend at the moment, and it's really quite unsurprising given how much we love movies. 100 years of Indian cinema, a landmark moment in India's cultural history. But with Indian cinema really in a sense being synonymous with Bollywood in popular consciousness, have independent films been sidelined in the process? How much are they being hurt by their small budgets, lack of promoters and the multiplex era? So we ask, 100 years of Indian cinema, time to talk indie cinema instead. Joining us on the show, independent film director Amlan Datta and Anna Vatakar, the author of The Adventures of an Intrepid Film Critic. Amlan, let's start with you. You face this problem every day of when someone says, when you tell someone you're a filmmaker and they look at you and they say Bollywood, and then you have to probably explain that you're not. How difficult is it to establish yourself as an independent filmmaker in India today, or to get any recognition?
See, I mean, just not independent cinema. I mean, my last film was a documentary. It was a 2-hour-long documentary released by PVR Directors here. But the moment I say I'm a filmmaker, yes, documentary is, it's not just non-feature films, it's non-film. So, but yeah, when we are celebrating 100 years of cinema, I need to say that I'm today now a representative of independent filmmakers. Yes, we do also exist. And we also make films. Maybe our films won't have Shah Rukh Khan in it, but our film can also make you laugh, make you cry, and most importantly, make you think. And see, I mean, you can take film as a part of entertainment, but film is also a form of art, and a society needs this art form for its own evolution. And where we have a small role to play, because we are actually, I mean, independent filmmaker sometimes does what is very important for the time. Right.
Now, Amlan, I think the problem is that you have a small role to play, as you said, because at the end of the day, it's the era of the big budget film, and that's what multiplexes want. It's about the big bucks. Anna, do you think that the problem with the independent filmmaker isn't a new one? It always has been the fact that it is much more difficult to market.
Yeah, I mean,
Amlan, we'll come to you. Let's go.
Okay. Well, firstly, Kajuri.
Yes.
Firstly, Kajuri, I find it interesting that you've drawn a distinction between Bollywood and independent cinema, because personally I would consider all Hindi cinema as Bollywood and all other language cinemas. And I think that right now it would seem to a lot of people, because we live in the multiplex era, that indie films across all languages, including Indian English films, must be having a wonderful time. In a sense, it's a great time to be an independent filmmaker in India, in the sense that there are some studios that are looking to support indie films. The social media can be used to promote indie films and create a buzz about them. But because, as you so rightly pointed out, this is an era of huge, massive, mega budget films, as a result of which, and the whole marketing and release strategy of these big budget films has changed in recent years. You realize, of course, that the age of the silver jubilee, golden jubilee hit has gone, and now people are looking to flood the market. Big films are looking to flood the market with a maximum number of prints possible, right, and earn the maximum amount of money in the first weekend, which means indie films suffer, because in India, unfortunately, we don't have enough screens to give space to indie films, because indie films need time to grow, word of mouth needs to sink in, audience word of mouth, reviews, right, all this needs to sink in, and they cannot expect people to come running into theatres the way people might come in for a Shah Rukh Khan or a Katrina Kaif or a Kareena Kapoor. So it's a good time and yet not a good time to be an independent filmmaker in India.
And I'm going to toss that to Amlan right now, because I think that is one of the demands, that there be screens which are dedicated to the screens like which used to exist in Pragati Maidan, like Shakuntalam, for example, screens like Nandan in Kolkata. Would that help?
Yeah, I mean, surely that's one of the demand that we have made. Actually, it's question of having one destination for the audience. They should know, well, this is one place in the city. Whenever I go, I can see something which is different. Well, independent film will also have a huge, can accommodate many genres. So I cannot say that, well, it will be like this or this, but they will see something very different. So it's important to have a definite destination for the audience. And apart from that also, I mean, there needs to be other distribution format. like television. And I think, apart from Doordarshan, I think now time has come for the other private channels to come up with a definite, concrete ideas, because I think there are enough audience to support us also.
Anna, let's quickly go back to a point that you were making about social network today being an important factor which plays in. Do you think that something like Kickstarter projects could in fact be the future of indie cinemas even in India?
You know, if you see the film Bombay Talkies that's been released this week, they have used the social media very effectively to promote their film. Obviously, they have the advantage of having, of being a film where, you know, there are 4 sub-films directed by big names in the Hindi film industry. But the star casts are not all, you know, nor are the films made on a massive scale. But what they did was they had a premiere, and they got all the big stars who attended the premiere to tweet about it. So there's a little buzz about it. However, even then, it's not enough because of the shortage of screens. You see, this business of big films flooding the market in the first weekend is a replication of a US business model. But the difference between the US and us is that the US has about approximately, and this is, I'm taking figures from the US media, approximately 126 screens per million of their population,
right.
Whereas in India, according to figures I've read from the various chambers of commerce,
right.
It's 12 screens per million of our population. So you can imagine the battle indie filmmakers are fighting for space.
And I think that is one of the massive problems. Amlan, we're going to give you the last word on this as an independent filmmaker. 100 years of Indian cinema, what would you like to tell the Indian viewer?
See, I mean, I'm a filmmaker. I should not be talking here about how can we market ourselves. See, if I said that if you feel that we are doing something important, it's also responsibility of the society to keep us alive and keep our art alive. I mean, so you want us to draw just simple distinction between there is some art and some commerce. And maybe, you know, it can become a CSR activity of one of these media channels. You can just provide us a slot and also a theater in every city. If the government fails to do that, you can do this. Thank you very much.
So the responsibility now on you, the viewer. Thank you, Amlan. Thank you, Anna, for speaking with us on the social network. If you want to see interesting small films, perhaps you need to step up and take responsibility, and so do we. Thanks for watching the social network.